You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind.
With the emergence of global internet, a human population of several billions, an electronic noosphere, that we are now within the shadow of this transcendental object at the end of time.
I find it a little difficult to say what the subject matter is going to be, because
Magic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
Shake and bake, steps back, three-pointer, bang!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Midnight Variety Hour. It is a beautiful day here in the cosmos, and we are joined by myself, Adam, and our guest today, Marcus. Marcus, say what's up to the people.
Hello, people.
We are here, we are live, we are direct, we are coming to you from a random spot in the cosmos, equidistant from everything else. We are all quantumly entangled, and we're here to talk about some stuff today. So, Adam, how are you feeling?
I'm great. Did you know, if you think about it, you're never in the same spot ever?
Ever.
Since the day you were born on this planet, you're never technically in the same spot based on the way the Earth is rotating, based on where we are in the universe.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you live in the same town your whole life,
You're not in the same spot.
You're never in the
You're
same
constantly
spot.
moving, constantly
and
vibrating.
relative to the universe.
Well, I mean, the Earth alone is moving at, I think, like 52 miles per second or something like that.
Like a bullet.
So, I
Faster
mean,
than a
we're
bullet.
really just on this rock, just careening through an infinite expanse of space and time
At all time.
at all times.
Do you see Marcus's shirt?
I started reading it, Man on the Moon 3. Wow.
Sit up a little bit,
Yes.
Marcus. Come up like.
Yeah,
pull it up
put
a little
that
more.
on screen, on the camera.
There you go.
That is incredible.
It's a new Cuddy merch right there.
$50 for a T-shirt.
Hey,
Gee,
Adrian-
I bet they sold out like
Adrian will
instantly.
be proud of you, bro.
Adrian, you will be proud of me.
I'm sure he has like a whole case of them somewhere
I'm sure
in his
of it.
house, preparing to sell them in like 5 years for 20 times the price.
Yeah.
Along with 50 other Yeezys.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
man. This is another one of my brothers. Marcus here.
We have a lot of brothers on this show, I feel like.
Known him since I was a childhood friend, and really happy to have him here. And he's also one of the original people we talked about, like originally just doing a podcast or
Right.
just recording our conversations because
Yeah.
we me and my friends just have random conversations. Like, man, we should record this shit. Like,
Back in
There's
the
no
garage.
we have
reason
some
not
awesome
to. Yeah.
conversations.
You have
and
to record it.
So he's one of the original people who do it. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you're in the works.
I'm in the works of a podcast
okay.
as well, but we'll leave that for like.
All right.
Yeah,
later
we'll get
on.
into it.
Cool.
Yeah, we definitely get will.
Yeah.
Podcasting is so interesting, man. Anyone can just have a show
Yeah.
on the internet and talk about whatever they want for as long as they want, and it's free. You know,
Mhm.
and you're sipping what looks like a sample of a miscellaneous whiskey, or what is that?
Are you whiskey tasting?
It's the juice. That's all you got to know.
Oh, Adam's got the juice.
Gin and juice?
Yeah, if you're listening to this show and you don't know, Adam also engineers a show called Smokin' and Toastin'. It is a great podcast. If you're into spirits, craft beer, cigars, anything like that, you should definitely give it a listen. And Adam has the coolest job in the world because he gets to sit in here and
Yeah.
just drink all day.
It's smoking with what do you call that little thing?
Apostrophe.
Apostrophe and ampersand, toasting.
Toastin'.
With the N ampersand.
Also
that's
apostrophe.
it's spelled like that, so that's why you got to search
Right.
for it. But
Smoking and
yeah, we're
Toastin'.
on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Go check them out. They're awesome. Love those guys. And it's my dad, Cruz, on there.
Yeah,
So.
Cruz is a great guy.
Cruz is
Has
awesome.
his voice is just golden. Don't even if you don't give a fuck about like alcohol, just like go into a dark room, close your eyes, and
listen
just
to
audio
Cruz.
gold will just be like beamed into your head. It's amazing.
Or just
Really
walking to Specs, your local Specs.
Walking to Specs, turn on the radio, whatever. You're gonna hear Cruz at some point in your life. So he will bless you with his voice eventually, if he has not already. So fellas, what should we start off with talking about today? Marcus, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and
Yeah, man.
what you do, or just like the things that you're interested in? What's your place out here in the cosmos?
So I do want to get into football and soccer. I want to ask you some questions as well, Tom. The first time I met you, it like struck a brotherly nerve when we were talking, and I told Adam
Yes.
it seemed like his mother raised you himself, like you were like his third brother, like literally. Cause
Yeah, I always joke about being the lost Andrus boy. I think I just like
much.
got switched at the hospital.
It's
or
very
something.
strange how like similar our interests and like
It's very
just who
weird.
we are as a person is very similar, and it's very strange.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Right. Because how long have y'all been friends?
Since I started working here about 3.5 years ago.
Right.
And how you started working here is even strange.
Yeah,
Like-
so everything is so serendipitous. So Pat, our previous guest on the podcast,
Yeah.
is our boss. He was my father's patient. My dad does sleep studies for a living. And back in like 2015, 2 years before I even started working here, he did a sleep study on Pat. And at the time I was in college, I was going to school for broadcast production. And they were just talking, they were like, getting the sleep study set up. And my dad was like, oh, what do you do for a living? Pat's like, oh, I'm a Texas Radio Hall of Famer. I have a media company, yada, yada, yada. My dad goes, oh, that's interesting because my son is actually going to school for radio and broadcast. And Pat goes, well, here's my card. You can give it to your son, whatever. I emailed Pat in 2015. We never really touched base. I emailed him again 2 years later after I graduated, managed to lock down an interview, and now I'm here, all because my dad just happened to be the guy to give my future boss a sleep study. It's nuts.
So random.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And if that
coincidence.
didn't happen, I would have never met you. This
Yeah.
podcast would have never happened.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Now
crazy, man.
Now we're here.
It's
Yep.
crazy.
it's really nuts. But yeah, so we started talking about soccer, or as I prefer to call it, football. That's what I think everyone should call it.
Yes.
It's, in my opinion, it's probably the greatest sport out there. I mean, I'm a really big American football fan, and I will say that's probably my favorite sport. But in terms of just beautiful games, I think proper football is right up there for number one.
football.
If you're not
Yeah.
using your hands, it shouldn't be a sport.
No.
I'm just
and
kidding.
you know that's trash.
I was like,
I'm just
Okay.
kidding. No, people say that. Americans, traditional guys are just like, no.
it's
They
not a
just can't.
sport,
They just can't
yeah.
accept it.
That the thing about using your hands is so interesting because one of the things we were saying is you were talking about how you actually play football, and it's kind of a weird thing for an American coming into that sport later in life because you don't build up those you don't build up that ability to
the
work with your
IQ.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you're a kid, your brain is kind of a sponge and you can build up that muscle memory really easily. That's why you have these kids that are phenoms at 9 in Brazil. They've been
For
playing
sure.
since they were toddlers. But learning to play a game where you solely use your feet as an adult, it's really hard because you're so used to doing everything with your hands.
The coordination.
Right.
For me, it wasn't necessarily as difficult the longer I played, just because I played basketball my whole life.
Right.
So the coordination and the change of pace was
Right.
always very dissimilar. You
Right.
know, so I never had too much of a problem. But controlling the
Right.
ball,
See, that's the thing.
it's just always the touch. Your
Because
first
you
touch is
have the
crazy.
baseline hand-eye coordination.
Yes.
But if you're let's say you're a born soccer player and someone throws you a basketball, you can probably learn that easier because you're so used to already doing things with your hands. But
Right.
coming into soccer, it's a whole nother thing,
Right.
because you're doing something that is completely alien for your body and your muscles. So, and you've been playing it pretty regularly. You've
Yes,
probably
so-
picked up skills pretty quickly.
So no, not pretty quickly. It definitely took time and some practice to get to where I'm at
Yeah.
now. At least to at least say I'm above average.
Yeah.
Just to say that. But I've been playing since the 2014 World Cup. That's when I literally got inspired by soccer because
Yeah.
I was at Adam's house actually in Atasita, and every day, yeah, it was a summer. So every day we'd just go to his house,
Yeah.
watch the game, and then play FIFA all night.
Yeah.
And we did that for the whole World Cup.
Yeah.
So after that, friends and I would play, and we all were really bad,
Right.
and it was still fun. We all were trying. We were all really
Right.
inspired by football. So we did that off and on for a year and a half, and I continued to play. They stopped. So I kept playing. I found new people to play with,
Yeah.
and I played with a lot of older people, and my skill level
Yeah.
was not anywhere close to be
Yeah.
able to play with them. But it gave me confidence. They would yell at me.
Right.
They'd bark at me all the time, and I kept coming, and I got better.
That's how you learn.
It is, and the intensity, it molded me.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I've roughly been playing for about 8 years. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, the way I fell in love with the game is one of my oldest friends, one of my childhood friends. He was from Bosnia, and he had just his parents had moved to America right before he was born. So I mean, he had pretty much grown up in a household that was for the most part European. He kind of learned to speak English on the fly. And I would always go over to his house and we'd hang out, but I would never really play FIFA or any of the games that he was interested in just because I was watching baseball, I was watching basketball, I was watching American football. Well, around like 2008, 2009, I started to get into FIFA, and then the 2010 World Cup hit. And for me, that was the World Cup for me, where I was just super into it. I started watching it. He was really into the German, Bundesliga, so I started watching that. And I turned on a game one day. It was just me, just like I was awake some crazy hour of the night because the games are early in the morning. And it was a Schalke versus Wolfsburg game. And I said, whatever team wins this game, that's who I'm going to support in Bundesliga. And I watched that game, and it was wild. It went down to like the 90th minute. Schalke won, and to this day, whenever I watch Bundesliga, I'm a Schalke fan. But
awesome.
Just playing video games leading up to the 2010 World Cup, I just fell in love with it. Now, 2014, the World Cup you watched, that was a great World Cup to be in America.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone in America was just like chanting like, oh, I believe
sure.
that we'll win, Tim Howard and all those guys. And we went pretty deep. I think we ended up losing to Belgium. I think we lost on the 4th of July, too.
I think so.
Yeah. I remember
it was very traumatic.
I remember
think
being
so.
in a sports bar. I think it was like Buffalo Wild Wings, and I remember just being so hyped. I like brought an American flag with me to Buffalo Wild Wings, and we lost to Belgium, and it was like heartbreaking because we had made it out of the group stage, which no one ever thought America would do. And for like a couple of weeks, everyone in this country just acted like football was part of their regular life.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
strange.
it kind of
drives
died off.
me insane.
I know. It's like you guys, whenever the World Cup comes around, people act interested in soccer,
Yes.
and then they just like forget about it right after the World Cup is over, which I think is ridiculous because I think the World Cup is probably the most exciting sporting event in the world.
It's the most watched as well.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's crazy how the World Cup kind of just like unites everyone for a little bit and then people just forget about it. I don't really know what that's about, but I am excited for the 2022 World Cup.
Yes.
We just found out that America is officially going to miss qualifying for the Olympics, which sucks. I have a love-hate relationship with the United States men's national team. Sometimes I'm really fired up when they win, and I want to see them do well, but I also feel like the players themselves don't really care about.
So for me, like the men's at least, they have never been, like I love Christian Pulisic. He's the player I watch, in the Premier League. He's I got American pride, so I go for the American players. I try to go for the black players, but for me, the women hold it down the most. I watch our women's national team way more than the men's.
Yeah.
I'll definitely cut the game on just to see, because we always have young new players coming up, but they're never. If we get another Christian Pulisic coming up, that'd be great. If we get a LeBron James out of America, which the day I'm waiting for, pretty much. I'm waiting for that kid that's a star athlete in basketball or football, American football. To choose soccer, to choose football, and to excel
because
and extend.
America puts out like some of the greatest athletes. The greatest athletes you'll ever see. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of athletes. I mean, it's so evident like when you watch Olympic basketball and you just look at the caliber of the athletes that are just out there. And I don't know why they're not choosing soccer. I mean, I'm sure there's a myriad of reasons.
I have a big reason. I mean, for me at least, being black, growing up, like football was looked as, I didn't even know why it was called football. I thought American football was just football. I was like, soccer. Why are people calling it football? And in school, growing up as a childhood, it was just instilled in my brain, only Mexicans play soccer. Black people don't play soccer.
It's so weird. And it's like, soccer. I feel like no matter where you grew up, most kids grew up believing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that Texas stigma of basketball or football. American football. So I can see why, in the comments on Bleacher Report and ESPN, like when there's soccer highlights, when it's just like Bleacher Report, the whole count, when they're posting a soccer highlight, not basketball, like some ignorant comments like, this isn't a sport, or the comment I do love to see is, what is this in basketball terms? And I love the comment under that most of the time. And
in basketball terms, it's something you hear all the time.
Right.
That's kind of like an argument that you can make for a few other different sports. Like I think it was Teddy Atlas, who's a world famous boxing trainer and boxing commentator, once said that the reason we've like seen such a decline in the talent level in the heavyweight weight class, like now the heavyweight division is pretty good, but for a long time there was just this huge drought in talent in the heavyweight division, and he was saying this because these kids, these like super athletes that are coming up and they're just born athletes, they're choosing football over boxing. Boxing, like, at some point lost its luster, and just no one wanted to box anymore, and they all just got, you know, kind of channeled over into football or basketball, and so you can see that talent drop off happen. And I just feel like if somehow there was just like something that happened that made people want to choose football. I mean, the MLS could be potentially like one of the most premier soccer leagues in the world if our athletes were going there. I mean, imagine what would happen if somebody with the worldwide talent of like a, you know, Eden Hazard or like a, you know, Ronaldo came from America. Like, what if someone that good came from America?
That's kind of what I'm expecting.
Right.
What I want Christian Pulisic to be.
Right.
I want him to be
I mean,
the
he
best
is
player.
phenomenal.
Yes.
And I love watching him play, but it's just like, I don't know. Do you think that would be enough?
I mean, not him himself. I mean,
Right.
he's kind of like my age, 20. I'm 27, and I think he's maybe a year younger, 26. So he's already creeping out of his
Right.
prime. So the time period for him to be, you know, knocking on those doors should be right now.
It's so
you
weird
know?
to think of your prime as being that young.
I know, it's insane. I mean, in football, your prime without injuries, and he battles injuries.
Right.
So your prime in football can last till 34,
Right.
35, you know, but it just depends. But your body, the miles you have,
Yeah.
and just like in basketball,
Yeah.
you know, the miles you have from AAU playing playing back-to-back games, tournaments, and stuff like that. All that accumulates when you hit your 30s.
Right.
You know, all that, you know, Hazard's battling that right now. You know, it's amazing. LeBron this is his first injury I've actually really seen him suffer that
Right.
isn't like a broken nose. You know, he's gotten like the face mask, stuff like that. Something very
Right.
physical happened to him. This is the first true injury I've seen him have in a long time.
And I mean, it feels like a serious injury. And I forgot who was saying this on ESPN. One of the analysts there was saying, you know, they'd seen like LeBron roll his ankle before, like years ago in the past, to where his leg made like a right angle, you know, like where his foot was just completely sideways. And then he just went back out onto the court and just like kept playing. But now it's like things like that are catching up to him. And it's just, you can't outrun. He's not indestructible anymore.
No.
You know? I mean, the things that the amount of minutes a guy like LeBron plays, it's remarkable that he's never had a serious injury. He's never had a season-ending injury.
Right.
He's never been sidelined for months at a time. So to see him hurt like this, you have to wonder how hurt is he actually if he's missing this much time, because I'm sure he's played through some, you know, pretty great punishment. So it's weird to think of these guys. Their bodies are so amazing, and they're under so much stress that like by the time they're in their 30s, their bodies are just
They're
worn
worn
down.
Yeah, it's too many miles.
Yeah.
You know, it's way too many miles.
But I would love to see an American superstar make it into the European side of things.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Because what we have happening right now is we have the MLS, which is desperately trying to grow and add more teams.
It's getting there. And I think with the players that have came and gone from the MLS, Zlatan and, you know, Chicharito's here now, but
see, that's the
he
thing. You
hasn't
get
done
these
anything.
European superstars that come over here. Zlatan's come over. You know, Beckham has come over.
Right.
Things like that. People are saying eventually we'll see guys like Messi over here or whatever years from now.
They want to end their careers
Right.
here. So late 30s. you
Come over
know.
here, make a bunch of money, live in
Of
LA,
course.
and come play for the Galaxy, live in Hollywood for a while, and make
you know, and
Yeah.
the competition will not be anything
no.
for them.
You could just
especially
go out
at
there.
that
and-
age.
Oh, just watching what Zlatan does is, I mean,
His first game.
yeah,
His first game
yeah.
was half court, you know, or half field. at
And
that.
there's not many people like Zlatan. Like
No.
he really when he got picked up by the LA Galaxy, he took out a full page ad in the LA Times or whatever the hell their newspaper is called. It's like the LA let's just call it the LA Times. I don't know what it's called, but their main newspaper. He took out a full page ad and it was just a picture of him and it just said, "You're welcome."
Yeah.
And like that was the way he came to LA. There's no one else like Zlatan. And he just comes and just watching him play against these guys, it's so hilarious. So I mean, it's kind of cool to see these dudes come over. And you know, if soccer tickets start going on sale eventually, I don't know how things are going to plan out with COVID, but I would go to watch, you know, Chicharito or somebody come play.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
For sure.
I'd spend my money on it.
That's what I want to. And the Houston Dynamo Stadium is very nice too.
That was
BB
beautiful. Yeah, I
Not a
drive
bad
by it all
seat.
the time. I've never been in there. The last time I went to a Dynamo game, they were still playing where U of H plays,
Oh yeah.
or like where they played before they got their new football stadium. And I mean, shit, that was fun. So, my mother's best friend, her son used to play for the Galaxy, and whenever the Galaxy would come to town, we would always get
Nice.
tickets, and that's how I started going to Dynamo games.
Nice.
Yeah. And then he like bounced around. He went a few other places. He ended up getting a ring with the Columbus Crew. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. So anyway, MLS is cool. I don't really watch it because why am I going to watch it when I can just watch the Premier League,
For sure.
Which I feel like kind of shitty about saying because you should support your local country's league.
There's
but
some. That's the thing. I mean, the MLS. There's
Yeah.
some teams that are really good. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the Spanish league, La Liga. Like
yeah.
they're gonna have a handful of good teams. You know what I'm saying?
But at the end of the day, you're really just watching Real Madrid and
Right.
Barcelona. Yeah.
and for the MLS, that's normally Atlanta, because they've been winning off and on. Like I think they almost three-peated. They like won 2 back-to-back,
Right.
lost, and then they went back and won again.
yeah.
And there's a couple. Yeah, I've fallen off. So
Yeah.
I can't even tell you.
I know
the
that
teams.
Portland won last year, I believe.
Yeah. See.
And then, I have family in Seattle. I'm a huge Seahawks fan. So occasionally I'll watch a Sounders game. And I was
Right.
a huge Clint Dempsey fan, so I liked watching the Sounders. They play in the same stadium as the Seahawks. And Russell Wilson is like part owner of the team now. So I feel
Oh,
like I
nice.
kind of have to be a Sounders fan.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it's fun to watch, sometimes. It's fun to use them in FIFA sometimes. Like, I'll be Seattle. I'll be
Right.
Houston. And then just play. And it's definitely not as fun as playing with the 5-star teams. But it's just funny to try and score with those guys.
Keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of FIFA, I need a rematch against you, Marcus.
It's been too long, Adam. You're not. I've excelled. It's too late.
I'm the teacher though.
I got
taught you how
an
to play.
email the other day from EA Sports. This
Oh.
was maybe about a week ago.
Oh,
I wish I could
what?
pull it up. I haven't played FIFA in about 2 weeks. About a week and a half ago, I just like unplugged my PlayStation because I was just like, I've been playing too much video games. I have a move coming up. I was like, until I kind of like my life settles down a bit, I'm not playing video games. So about a week and a half ago, I unplugged my PlayStation. It's sitting in my closet. A few days after that, which means I hadn't played FIFA like in a matter of days, I get an email from EA Sports telling me my account has been banned for cheating. That they they've noticed that I've cheated in a series of matches, multiple matches, and so I have a lifetime ban. No FIFA titles, either before or future FIFA titles, will I be able to play. I've never cheated once. I don't even know how to cheat. I feel like cheating is more of an issue on like
PC.
PC. I don't even know how I would cheat on my PS4. I mean, like you get the people like sometimes you'll come up against somebody online, you'll just like spank them 8-0 and they'll quit. And maybe some of those guys reported me. But EA, if you're listening, please unban me because whenever I do plug my PlayStation back in, I'd really like to play FIFA 21, but I can't.
Would you have to create a new account or
Yes,
something?
I would have
Yeah.
to make a new PSN, lose
Yeah.
all of my shit, my trophies or whatever.
Dude, EA Sports sucks.
Yeah, they're really
honestly,
bad.
Yeah.
they're terrible. I remember one time I had to recover my account or something for Madden or something like that, and it was one of the most painful experiences I've ever had. Going on the phone, going on the web, figuring out how to do this, do that, and they just made you jump through so many hoops.
And it
was
shouldn't be that hard,
crazy.
considering one, they are like arguably the largest video game company.
Dude, it's a video game. It's not like you're trying to recover your social
yeah, I'm
security
not trying
or
to
some
like
shit.
get back into a bank
Yeah.
account or something.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to play some
It's
goddamn games.
It's ridiculous. It really is.
No, you were cheating. You're banned forever. So with my current PSN, it's like I couldn't even play FIFA 30 online. Like 10 years could pass, I still wouldn't be able to play online.
I think you can call them. And,
yeah, you can, but it's just like,
No, they
do
don't
I
have.
even want?
They don't have like a.
Well, it's
You
not a
can't-
call. There's like an
Yeah.
appeal process where they like have someone look at it, but you just like correspond with someone
Yeah.
over the internet.
Yeah,
You
it's
have
like
to
a chat-
you have to appeal.
Yeah. You
It's
have
like
to
a-
like appeal. You have to request for them to revisit the ban. They have to examine like why they banned you.
It's
Who
stupid.
knows how long that is going to take?
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's almost not even worth the effort. And
No.
then if they do all that and then they're like, well, we don't have enough evidence to prove that you weren't cheating.
Wow.
There's nothing you
I'm
can
still
do.
just banned.
Yeah.
So whatever. I'll just make a new account.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It's okay. It was fun.
But Marcus, I wanted to jump in more on like who you are as a person and like what else you're interested. We barely touched the surface of you said football and I forgot what everything said. So yeah, I just want to like dive in, especially for your first time. You're gonna be a recurring guest, I'm sure.
For sure.
So like tell us like just a broad,
about myself.
Yeah,
So I've known you, Adam, for most of my life, and I mean, I'm a sports music guy. Like, it's so hard to like, just to break a question like that down.
It's so weird when someone says,
you don't have
"Tell me
to-
about yourself."
I know.
It's like, where do I start?
yeah.
So mainly, I'm a spiritual, musical, loving human being that loves sports. Loves basketball and football. And I'm a very uplifting person. I'm a Capricorn. I'm very grounded. I try to stay very, very real, very honest. Very true to myself. But I love music so much. Like, when I say music, I mean from artists like Wu-Tang to Tool, to 3 Days Grace to Daft Punk.
Damn, yeah.
Like,
I'm the same way.
To Killswitch Engage to Pink Floyd. I love all walks of music.
Is there anything like you just absolutely will not listen to? Have you ever come across some shit and you're like, this just isn't it?
I'll tell a funny story. This is how like cultured I've become. But I'll say country is like, I walk the line.
Right.
I can listen to it and I will enjoy it. I'll bob my head. I'll tap my feet.
Right.
Because they say like I like Jack Daniels. I hear them always saying Jack Daniels in there. So, I'll tap my feet. But in high school, I got tired of riding the bus. So I was probably a sophomore. And riding the bus at sophomore, junior year, I don't know why, stigma. It's not cool anymore. So I had a classmate that I found out he lived right down the street from me. And he was kind of a quiet kid, wore a black hoodie every day, hood on every day. And he's kind of, no one really fucked with him. No one really talked to him like that. But, one day I had a class with him and we just talked about games. And he was like, dude, I live down the street from you. He's pretty quiet, so he didn't really say it like that. He said it, but... so eventually we got kind of cool, and he starts picking me up and taking me to school. I start riding with him, and the first day he puts on like some like hardcore metal music, like hard drum, like double bass drums, like all that grunge music, pretty much. And I'm like, whoa, like, and I'm about to listen to this. And I told this guy, I'm like, bro, like every day, bro, like for real. So
it's just like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the first thing this guy cuts on, and it's every day. It's the same CD.
Oh damn.
Yeah, it's the same CD too. So eventually, I actually start enjoying some of the songs, and I'm like, okay, I fuck with it because there's like some singing to it, and then like I love the guitar, so I love drums. I love the beat to the drums. So eventually,
and it just amps you up. Like you just like get fucking fired up.
And that's what I'm very technical. So like, I think this is like part of my like, just being more exposed to more music. Yeah. And like, I guess I can really say that because to this day, like grunge music doesn't turn me off or doesn't like I won't have it saved in my phone, but if I'm in a public place and they're playing it, I'm like, okay, I'm straight. I'm not cut this shit off. But anyways, I got pretty accustomed to it. And I think the band was called Parkway Drive.
Oh, shit. That sounds very calm.
No.
You would never imagine.
Parkway Drive.
Yeah,
Parkway Drive. You're not listening to Parkway. Like, there's bands that are called, like,
Slipknot,
Satan Fucker, and like all those like Mushroom Head, Megadeth, like
Raining Blood,
Blind Witness, but like fucking Parkway Drive, that's crazy.
Funny.
Yeah, it's very very interesting.
I'm gonna have to listen to some Parkway Drive on the way home.
Be careful.
So you're saying like at a younger age, being able to hear different sounds and different music from what you found that you listened to, like you found a friend who listened to something completely different.
Yes.
You think that kind of opened up your world a little bit to like what's out there and what's possible with music and stuff like that?
That made me more accepting to more music, because at a certain point I was really getting tired of hearing it, and I was like really getting irritated, and I was like, dude, like, but I didn't want to ride the bus, so eventually I was going to tell him something, but I think the day I was actually going to tell him something was the day I started bobbing my head to it. So, but to actually answer your question, my real love for music really came from like gangster rap, you know. But 50 Cent, you know, Ja Rule, just, you know, 1 and 6 Park, things like that.
Yeah.
Watching that, you know, being exposed to that at a young age. But at the same time, gaming exposed me to rock music as well, because ATV Offer Fury versus ATX had an amazing.
I used to play that game
religiously,
so much, and they had like Alice in Chains on the soundtrack.
System of the Down. They had, man. I forgot the name of the song, but I think it's called Alien. Not Aliens. It's I forgot. It's a really good song. I'd look it up, but you can look it up. But
Tom's got the
Let's just type in.
Tom's got the magic keyboard over there. He can pull up whatever he wants.
I can't remember, but anyways, that soundtrack was very pivotal to me, and that's when I really started like, oh, I like rock music. Like, I'm singing the songs. I'm like, you know, because like I said, growing up black, you know, it's like rock music's for white people. You know, can't listen to this. You know, can't get caught listening to this, you know, but I like it, you know, and it's like a weird, you know, there's a early age identity, you know, like really.
They had System of a Down. The song is called Science on the album Toxicity. Yeah. Yep.
So
wow,
that was a really good song.
Yeah, dude, I genuinely feel bad for people who, especially at a younger age, never got to experience like other music. Versus like what they listen to, like what their parents maybe listen to, because it's either like what your parents listen to or what your friends are listening to. That's what you're gonna listen to, and if they're not listening to anything different or out of the ordinary than what you normally hear, it's like that's just what you're gonna like. Right. So I genuinely feel bad for people who didn't get that experience, because that would have been me too. Like, but thankfully I grew up in a musical family. Like my stepdad played drums and was in bands. We literally set up our garage as a studio. Like random band members would come in and out of my house, and I would just hear them practicing until like 10 or 11 at night, and so it was crazy. And then doing that, like my stepdad was always playing different music. He was playing crazy stuff all the way from heavy metal to like Steely Dan to like whatever, you know. It was really cool. And then so it was cool that I had that experience. And then my friends were listening to like hip hop. I had the first, you know, Eminem CD playing on the little boombox outside, like when I was like 11 years old. Dr. Dre and stuff like. So I got to hear all these crazy different music, and I just opened I was like, whoa, like just hearing all these different stuff was really amazing. And just like even to this day, like I'm so happy that I had that experience at a younger age, to where I, you know, because it's nice to experience those things and be open to listening to something new. You know what I mean?
And
like,
it's so weird how it's just like it is kind of just based on like what environment you're born into. Like if you're just born and you live in like a rural farm town in Kansas, you're probably not going to be exposed to that much music, you know? But I happen to be born in Houston, one of the most diverse cities in America. And then on top of that, I grew up in a biracial household. So I had a black father and a white mother. They both have drastically different music tastes. Then I have like 20 cousins on one side, 20 cousins on the other side. So we'd be riding around. I'd be with my white cousins and we'd be listening to like Beverly Hills by Weezer. But then I would go out with my other cousins and we'd be like listening to Exhibit. You know? So it's just like... I don't know what my music taste would be like if that wasn't my upbringing, you know?
How much do y'all think music has influenced you as a person?
A lot.
Yeah, probably like 40% music, 40% movies, 10% my parents, and like 10% just random chance. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy, like, to think about? Like, I wonder how much influence music has.
I mean, for me, it made me very diverse. Like, made me open to experience, to talk to anyone, you know? Because when I really started, like, really diving into rock music and, like, listening to it on the regular, it was, you know, it was Tool. So I was not, I mean...
Which is such an intense band to, like...
It is.
Like, no one just, like, casually listens to Tool. Tool is not just like here's this band. They make some music, you know? It's like... Oh, this is Tool. This is the only thing. Tool doesn't sound like anything else. No. Like, it's not just like regular, it's fucking rock music. Like, you know, like you listen to, I don't know, give me a rock band. You know, fucking Nickelback. Nickelback music could be made by anyone. But, like, you listen to Tool, and you know instantly. If you know who Tool is, you hear any song by them, you just know instantly, oh, that's Tool.
For sure.
It's so weird. It has such a weird sound. Everything about it is so unique. So it's such a weird band for that to be like your first foray into rock music.
Well, it was Tool, Linkin Park, and
Parkway Drive.
no, I was way younger then, or I was older for Parkway Drive. But no, Linkin Park, Tool, and I'm trying to. I can probably put them in the second tier, like Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Breaking
Like-
Benjamin was on that ATV Off-Road Fury soundtrack too. I feel like they had some songs.
I think that's before their time.
Oh,
actually,
maybe.
surprisingly, but I'll put them in that little bucket of bands I was listening to regularly. But definitely Linkin Park and Tool, and were the most
Bro,
influence.
You remember when that Linkin Park and Jay-Z collab album came out?
Shit.
It
So-
was like
Encore and all that
It was
stuff.
insane.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing.
I was in middle school when that came out.
That was before I was even a fan of Linkin Park. So
Yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
why is Jay-Z working with
Yeah.
Linkin Park? I was
It's
like,
so
it's so
weird.
so confused.
Yeah. It was cool, man.
What was that? The one that like went the hardest? I can't even remember what it was. I think it was
Encore.
like
It's Encore.
Yeah.
and,
Was it Big Pimpin'?
I don't know. There was
That was
like
one of them.
lying from you and
Oh.
brush your shoulders off or
Okay.
dirt off your shoulder.
Yeah,
and
that one
shit,
went hard.
like
That
went
went hard.
ridiculously hard. I just remember like playing Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, like listening to that
Okay.
shit. You know, like
It's so funny.
What the fuck?
But it's so weird. I feel like no matter where you grew up, why did like every kid who was born in our like little block of the 90s, I feel like everyone went through a Linkin Park phase, or like everyone
Yeah.
at least semi
I
enjoyed
hope-
Linkin
At least
Park.
I hope so, because they're an
Yeah.
incredible band at that time. You know, like
Oh, yeah.
Right.
for that alternative sound, and that was
Yeah.
just so cool for them. They had like the DJ mixed with the rock,
Right.
mixed with the hip hop,
so
mixed with
many,
like
so many different
awesome, man.
like emotions and flavors
Yeah.
with it. Like
You could have like
Yeah.
a weird hip hop beat with like a dude just screaming.
Yeah.
Chester
Yes.
just like
Chester,
screaming
yeah,
on the
no.
track. Yeah, it was
R.I.P.
great.
man,
yeah, it's
R.I.P. Chester, man, what a legend.
legend.
Definitely.
Linkin Park's
Y'all-
such a great band.
Y'all want to know who? Well, you might know, or you might know too. My first concert I ever went to?
Was Linkin Park?
No,
Mm.
it was Kiss.
Oh wow.
Yeah, see,
I was,
that's pretty
I was
badass.
like maybe 7 or 8. Went to a Kiss concert.
I didn't
It
go to
was
my first
insane.
concert
You said
until
7 or 8?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a kid.
Wow.
See, that's just a
Very
testament
little.
to like that's just the type of home you grew up in.
Yes,
You grew
that
up
was
in a
it.
home where
my-
like your mom was like, "You're gonna go to
I
like
was
a badass
face
concert."
painted. I was painted as, I think, I forgot which one I was painted as, but yeah, he painted both
The
me
Star
and my
Child
brothers.
or something.
Wow.
Me
Ace
and
Frehley.
Aaron's face,
Yeah.
That's
both painted
intense.
as kids. That shows you like what I was like experiencing.
But did
as
you
a
even
child.
know like what Kiss was about?
No,
like,
I had
were you
no
just
idea.
like, yeah, paint my face, whatever?
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is cool. Like this will be
what
fun.
does
and,
Kiss sing
you know,
about? That's interesting. I'm very interested in the history of music.
Yeah.
So
They were one of the like the pop rock kind of band. They were
Okay.
more
They're
of the
almost
show.
like
They
a
wanted to put on a
party rock.
show. Like yeah.
Somebody said, you know, like everyone thinks of like Tool as like a band that just sells like a ridiculous amount of like merch.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said Tool, Kiss is just a brand
Right.
that also
Yeah.
happens to make music.
And that's true to
Yeah.
a point as well. Yeah, but they make.
That's
There's
a-
definitely
that's a
some good songs
great
they made.
analogy.
They
Yeah.
make some great hits.
Shit,
so.
Detroit Rock City goes hard
Yeah,
as fuck.
for
you know?
sure.
Yeah. So, Kiss is like such a weird band. They
But they have a huge following, like
international.
huge. They're
People
massive.
people on other sides of the planet
Yeah.
are painting their face
Yeah.
like Gene Simmons, you know?
Mm-hmm.
what year was Kiss around? What year is that? 60s?
I mean, shit, they're still
For a
performing
while,
now,
man.
but I mean,
They've been going
the
since
70s is
at
probably
least
when they were at
okay.
their peak.
probably
yeah.
late 70s.
Yeah.
late 70s.
Yeah.
Late 70s, into the 80s, but I'd say the 70s was probably when they were at their biggest. And I mean, they just make songs like, you know,
I mean, sex,
yeah,
partying,
party,
drugs.
sex. Yeah,
I
they have a
mean-
song
pop,
called
yeah.
"Love Gun." It's literally
Yeah.
just like about a dude's
Just about
dick.
sex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Which-
crazy.
It's a good song though.
Yeah, it's just like music you just fucking turn on, and it's just
Yeah.
rock music.
yeah, definitely.
You know, but that's like really crazy that because my first concert wasn't until I was 15, and it was Kid Cudi.
But see,
Yeah.
it's also because my mom, even to this day, I go to concerts because of her. Like, she would take me to every I would go to, obviously my stepdad
Yeah.
was in band, so I'd go to almost every one of his shows. My mom was their manager, so I'm doing a lot,
Yeah.
helping out the band and stuff and getting them booked. And so I was going to like concerts, random concerts at clubs and bars at a young
Wow.
age. Like
Right.
I was just getting in because, hey, I'm with the band.
Yeah.
As a kid, like I'm just there. I don't know what I'm listening to. I
You
don't
were
know.
probably backstage
All these
sometimes,
people are
just like,
around,
yeah.
like just like hanging out. I'm just there. Yeah, I remember one specific memory that, because I remember it so well, is because it was like a pain thing. Like, because someone has like, I was like running around probably with my brother, and someone like lifted their hand back and they were smoking a cigarette.
Oh.
And I just walked back. I was just like running by at the wrong time. And I guess the cigarette hit
Shit.
the side of my neck or something like this. Boom.
Yeah.
And it like burned me. I was like, fuck. But I just remember that because it was like that moment. I was like, whoa.
Bro, you got
But,
burned
like,
by a cigarette at a concert
Yeah.
as a child.
I probably but just random stuff like that I experienced as a child.
I mean, it's pretty badass.
Even to this
That
day,
is pretty badass.
Even to this
That
day, I
sounds
go to
good.
concerts with my mom with just local bands like the Suffers, who are incredible, and like just stuff like that. So I've definitely been blessed to come up in a family like that.
I mean, from like me knowing your mom before COVID, I felt like your mom was going to a show like 3 times a week or something. Like,
Even
for sure.
even now, she's doing all of the live.
Right.
All of the live streams
Like
that bands are
watching
doing,
concerts
she's
from
still
home
doing
and
that
stuff like that.
to get that
Yeah.
experience, that live experience, because she loves it so much. you
yeah,
know?
it's just like I feel like she's always posting pictures from like a show or whatever,
Yeah.
and I would just be like, how are you going to this many shows? But I mean, when you just like that's what you love.
That's her thing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is like what she just enjoys like living her life doing. It's a fucking badass thing to do, and the fact that she incorporated that like with you as a kid, that's it's a pretty sick way to
It
grow
is.
up.
It is cool.
Yeah,
I
For
went
sure.
through a whole like 4 or 5 years of going to concerts. Like every month, I was going to a show.
Yeah.
Like when I went to see Tool for the first time, I went by myself.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I took acid.
That's even crazier.
Yeah, and you know what was even crazier? The girl next to me, just she was with her family, and
She was with her family.
well, not her family.
Tool
She,
concert?
she was an aunt, and she was like with her like nieces and nephews and
Uh.
stuff like that, and like well, that's how I said her family, but yeah, she just happened to sit next to me. She was on one too. Yeah, so
Whoa.
it was a hell of an experience.
So it's just like you and this girl, you're just like transcending reality with each other while
Pretty
Tool is
much.
playing. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were waiting for. Well, how I found out was odd because we were just talking because I was by myself. So
Yeah.
Tool fans are very diverse. So I think she was Latino, and I don't know, bro. We just started talking, and somehow we get on A$AP Rocky, and she's like, "Oh, I love the LSD video," and I was like, "Yeah, me too." And she's like, "I'm actually on one." I don't know who said it first, either me or her. And we're just like, whoa. We just got quiet for a second, just kind of had that moment, and we were just like, well, we're
Damn.
about to experience this.
Wow.
And, it was great. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful night.
I've
Yeah.
never seen Tool, but I would love to. But I would probably do it sober. I don't know if I could
Yeah, it was
take all that
It was a lot. There was a lot of people like putting their hands up, just like
on a
taking
fucking
it
ride.
in. Yeah, like, no,
Bro.
but for real, people were in there like getting very spiritual because Tool is a very spiritual band. You
Yeah.
know? And like very like tribalistic.
Yeah.
Like very like tribe like.
And
The
just, like,
drums, the heavy drums.
Sounds that are just like they kind of like evoke some sort of primitive response. You know what I mean? I don't even know how to explain it. Just like
Well, they have very like the electric guitar. They hold the strings for the vibrations.
Right.
Like they're very keen on vibrations
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, like one of my favorite songs is "Reflection," and like the drums are heavy and just everything's like such a fast
Right.
motion. Just takes you through like a trance almost. You know, so
Totally.
I remember I went to Zion National Park back in July of 2020, and I got to this part of the road where I was just driving through the middle of the fucking desert, like Arizona somewhere, you know. My girlfriend was asleep, and like when she sleeps, I can usually keep the music up pretty high in the car, and I just put on Lost Keys, and I just like rolled down the windows and just driving through the desert at like sunset time, listening to like Lost Keys or just like some weird, like you're just like. The aliens could like just come down right now and it would just feel totally normal. Like that's how Tool makes you feel. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
What a band. We were just putting some Tool songs in the system. I don't know if you.
Nice.
We so like part of the things that we have to do for work is like whenever a new station comes along or something like that, if we don't already have the music that the client is requesting go on the station, we have to source it and we have to edit it and stuff like that. I put in like 8 Tool songs yesterday. Some Fury Inoculum stuff, and then I just like started revisiting Tool, and I was trying to like figure out what my favorite Tool album was, and they're all so good. It's probably 10,000 Days.
How
for
did
me.
y'all like the latest album?
oh, I loved it. It was
Do
great.
y'all think it's like up par like to what
Yeah.
the
It was
rest
pretty
of the
great, yeah.
It
I
just
agree.
sounded like Tool in 2020.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded like if they didn't miss a beat. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
I was happy and relieved.
Because that was their first album that came out in
In
what?
like 15 years. I
15
think.
years. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
And they released all of their music on Apple Music and Spotify at the same time when they released their album. So
it was the first album since 10,000 Days.
It was such a blessing because, like, you have no idea the struggle to listen to Tool between, you know, not having it on any platforms before you know.
And like Maynard James Keenan even said, like, he understands they're a difficult band. He's like, I get it. Like, we are not the easiest band to like be a fan of. Like, because when
that makes it a thing too, you know, in itself. Like, kind of,
So, I mean, it just makes them more special, just because, like you said, like, you were like very surprised that they were my favorite band because not a lot of people, because, you know, Tool is very different, very different.
They're not a regular fucking band, you know.
Yeah. So I feel like they have they almost get a bad rap for them at the same time too, you know, because they're so different, you know. So with different comes criticism, you know. So
my favorite band of all time is Pink Floyd, and they're very similar, just very weird, very different, very psychedelic.
Especially like if you listen to old Pink Floyd stuff. Like everyone thinks about like Pink
Listen
Floyd,
to their
and they
first
just
album.
think, oh, Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall. Dude, you go back and listen to like old Pink Floyd, like their first shit. It is weird.
Yeah, and they have songs that are like 17 minutes long.
Wow.
Just weird, crazy shit. You're just like, there's random bells and whistles, and you're just like, what is happening? But it was so revolutionary. Like for me, the first album I listened to by them was The Wall, part 1 and 2. Just put on my headphones, close my eyes, sit in my bed, and just listen to it all the way through. And it was a psychedelic experience in itself, and just changed my life. I immediately after I listened to that, I ran into my room. Oh, by the way, I had also just got the new Beats, brand new Beats, like first edition. You know, I was like, oh, what can I listen to? Whatever. I don't know why I picked that album, but I did, and I ran into my mom's room. I was like, Mom, why didn't you tell me about this album? Why didn't you tell me about this? Like, this is incredible. And she was just like, it's Pink Floyd. Like, what do you mean? Like,
everyone knows.
Like, but it was incredible, man. Awesome band. I love them so much.
I love music like that, though. Like music that is just like the majority of the world would consider it weird, but like for some reason it just resonates with you, you know. Like one of my favorite bands of all time is Radiohead. I fucking love Radiohead. They're probably I used to think Nirvana was my favorite band. Now I think my favorite band is honestly Radiohead. So I've never seen Radiohead live, but I have seen Tom York live. He's Radiohead's frontman, and he's even said in an interview, like, whenever I make music by myself, like as solo projects, it's the shit that's too weird to be Radiohead shit. Like it's the shit that like those guys don't even want to do. It's like his own little like weird area to just experiment. So I went to a show that was just him, and it was at Day for Night Festival. So we're just in like this abandoned post office, and he came on at like midnight. So I had tickets through work to go to Day for Night Festival.
Yeah,
I didn't
wanted
care
to
about
go to that. I couldn't go.
It was so weird. It was like honestly,
how long ago was that?
2017, winter of 17.
Ago, 4 years ago.
Winter of it was in December. It was December of 17.
Yeah.
And that was also the last Day for Night Festival. It'll never happen again. But so it's in this abandoned building. It's like fucking concrete structures. I'm actually going to pull up what it looks like on the inside in this place because like I feel like people need to see what Day for Night Festival looked like.
It was very strange and random, and it was promoted like crazy. Like anywhere you went throughout Houston, there was stickers everywhere.
Right.
And there was just like all this stuff.
So it was like a one-time event?
I don't think it was planned to be a one-time event, but because of like, I think a lot of shit happened internally with planning and whoever was running it.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of corruption. People weren't paying people correctly, and a lot of stuff happened. A lot of bullshit happened with it. So it didn't happen again, but yeah.
Let me see.
Pretty crazy.
And they had like all kinds of artists, man, from like Tyler the Creator to 9 Inch Nails, stuff like that.
Oh, I think I do remember this.
So like this isn't the best picture, but here you can like put this up on screen. It was in this giant like big post office building that had been like a mail distribution center for Houston in the middle of downtown. But it was no longer being used as a post office. So it's like hollowed out. Everything in there is concrete. So there was like 4 different stages, some outside, some inside. But then the spaces that weren't stages were just used for like installation art, weird light shows. There was one room where there was just like a tank of like live lobsters.
What?
And they're just like swimming around and like there's like lights being shot through the tank.
Where was the stage and like the performances at?
They would like...
Damn, poor lobsters.
I know, right? They're just in there like
dude,
unintentionally vibing. I wonder if I can find a picture. So then there was like some outdoor stages, like you can see outside the building. They have a stage set up like right here on the side of the building. But then on the inside, like shit
Dude,
like
that
this was
looks
happening.
dope.
It
Look
was
at those
fucking nuts.
slides.
I wish I had been on drugs because I feel like it would have made it even crazier. But there was one night that Tom York was playing, and he didn't come on until midnight. And I just left my house at like 11 p.m. I was like, I'm just going to see Tom York. He played for, it felt like 2 hours. I feel like I didn't leave there till 2 in the morning. It was the weirdest fucking concert I had ever been to. And it was the same thing. There was people that were just in there like,
Yeah, just taking it in.
I watched a bitch just like draw on her face with lipstick. She was just holding lipstick and her eyes were closed and she was just going.
What?
And I was like, I don't know what she's on, but I want some.
Wow.
Anyway, it was great. It was weird. None of the songs were terribly great. I mean, like, I don't really like Tom York's standalone music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Radiohead shit I don't like.
Yeah.
I kind of just went and it was just an experience, you know? And there were some songs that I kind of enjoyed. But
Right.
Tom York is just one of those dudes. He just makes really weird, trippy shit. And sometimes it's amazing. Sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
But it's just an experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to go for the experience.
Yeah. And for me, I think we need more of that.
Yes.
I think we need more of people just jumping outside of the lines, just making whatever they feel
Like
is
making.
them. You know, just whatever it is. And because like especially in our culture, so much of the music that we hear or are influenced by is whatever was on the radio or whatever's popular or whatever's like getting the clout, you know? And it's
Right.
like a lot of that music, not all of it, a lot of it is made purely to sell. You know, so they're going to make what is the sound? What's going to make people want to listen to it? What's the thing to say that's going to grab your attention? It's not about the art anymore.
No.
You know what I mean?
It
I tell
lost that,
a lot of
yeah.
people like I only listen to stuff that's going to hit my soul and
Right.
hit my spirit. Like if it doesn't like give me chills sometimes or give me something or make me feel something,
Right.
it's like you know, it's like I don't
I
care
think
too much
the,
for it.
The
Like
mainstream
you know,
is like what you're saying. Like if it doesn't, like it hits you, it hits other people's like their buttons. Like when they're drinking and like
Exactly.
when they're their emotional triggers. Like whatever. Like when they're stressed. When someone's like the fuck it, like fuck
Right.
a drink. You know.
Yeah.
Someone's like really saying that out loud. You
Right.
know, and really thinking it. Like
yeah, and there's definitely a time
know.
and place for that kind of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely. Like I definitely get down with some, you know, a lot of that stuff. Like if I'm out, whatever, having a good time, cool.
Right.
But I'm not gonna put that on if I'm just hanging out at my house, like
yeah.
just
Yeah.
chilling. Like none of that. Like I will listen to purely independent or just cool, weird stuff that I like, and I think is really interesting because it's like that's the art of it, and I feel like a lot of music for a long time now has like they've completely taken the soul or like the human
Yeah.
element out of what music is supposed to be, the art of it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
And
music
it's
is
sad
just
to
like
see,
so
you know?
formulated
Yeah,
and like
very much so.
Yeah.
And it sucks to see, and like it's so interesting because so many people like it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, do you like it? And it's an interesting question I've asked people. I'm like, do you like it because you genuinely think like you're vibing with it? Like, do you really like the sound or like the person or is it, do you think you like it because that's just what is there? Like that was just on, or that was just on the playlist that Spotify created or whatever it was.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It was just because it was marketed to you, or that's what's being played on commercials, or that's
Right.
whatever. You know what I mean? Because it's interesting. Like, what music would we pick if we weren't influenced by people, or we weren't influenced by anything else other than just like, okay, we're just gonna play a song for you
Right.
without any context or anything else, and you just listen to it and tell me if you like genuinely like it or not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people's music choice would change if
Yeah, I
that were
think
the
so,
case,
too.
right?
And I mean, like, what if you had like never experienced music before? For some reason, you were like born on an island. You had never heard produced music before, and then someone just like in a vacuum, someone was like, "Here's 5 tracks from 5 different genres. Just listen and tell us what you think." I wonder what you would just naturally gravitate to if you had
Right.
never been
That's
exposed to music
interesting.
before.
Yeah.
Totally.
Would you just go for whatever had like a primitive human sound, like, oh, this has drums, something in me knows that I like the sound of beating drums and people singing in harmony? Or is it just like encoded into your soul, like before you're even born? Like, if you're gonna be a hip-hop fan, you're just gonna be a hip-hop fan, even if you were born in Mongolia and you'd like never heard hip-hop before. It's just like in your soul, you're just gonna, that's gonna be your thing.
By the way, have you ever heard Mongolian
Throat
metal
music.
Dude, no, no metal. Mongolian
no.
like
Whoa,
metal bands.
No.
Bro, it's amazing.
Have you
Y'all
heard
should-
that Mongolian throat music?
Yes,
though?
yes,
That
definitely.
shit is crazy.
It's like kind of Tibetan
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Like, yeah, but no, Mongolian metal, like heavy metal. If anyone just go pull it up on YouTube. We should listen to it. It's fucking amazing. But
Really?
yeah, it's really cool. It's
Huh.
really interesting, crazy stuff.
Does it
but
sound good, or is
Yeah, no.
it just really cool they're making the music?
both?
Okay.
It's just really unique and different, but cool. Like just it's because it's just its own thing. So
How did you come across that?
Yeah, it's very random.
By a guy named Daniele Bolelli, who I listened to his podcast History on Fire, and he brought it up because I think it was a history series about Genghis Khan
Okay.
and the conquest of the Mongolian Empire, and he's like, by the way, he just kind of brought it up, came up that anyway. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mongolian man.
hot facts.
There's like a bunch of weird genres like that from places. Like I think there's like Indonesian like funk.
Yeah.
Like funk music from like Southeast Asia, which is like you would never know.
You wouldn't know unless someone told you.
And it's just like, we're so influenced by the stuff around us. It's cool to see like music from one side of the planet making it like K-pop. K-pop is huge in America. The majority of Americans that listen to it have no idea what the people are saying, but they love it.
But it's like now they're doing it half like English, half Korean and stuff like that.
To appeal to get more appeal.
Shit, man, I watched some videos of like Michael Jackson performing in like Bucharest.
Oh shit.
And people were fucking fainting. Like he came up out of the fucking stage.
Bro.
People were like getting taken out on stretchers and
If
shit.
no one has ever went and watched some of Michael Jackson's live, just watch like an hour live performance or the 2 hour live performance, whatever they have like on YouTube or whatever, and watch like the epic like craziness that people are going through.
Bro,
Just like
people's souls
it's
are
like literally
leaving their body.
like left and right, people are just getting carried out on stretchers. Like it's insane, man. It was insane to watch that stuff.
Like there was a woman just passed out and like someone was just like pouring water on her face,
I've
like
seen
trying
that
to get her to
video.
come back. And it's like, what is happening?
Yeah. I mean, it's the Michael effect. So like,
How is he doing
the
that?
three Mikes: Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, that's right.
They all three of them. I don't know so much Mike Tyson. I think he just put people to sleep. But
Yeah, he was taking people's soul out of their body rather than them willingly.
Michael
giving
Jordan
it.
was the same way. I don't know if you've seen the Dream Team documentary.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite.
I think
documentaries.
everyone should see it.
Oh yeah, it's so beautiful. If you're a basketball fan, you have to see the Dream Team documentary. And when they're in Barcelona in Europe, same reactions. People screaming his name. Those are the only words they know in English. Is Michael Jordan. I love you, Michael Jordan.
And he had only been in the league for like less than 10 years. He had like 8 seasons he'd been in the league. And he's like, they have a clip of him. He's like walking to like a little coffee shop or whatever. And he's just walking under a giant billboard of his face in Barcelona. But then, meanwhile, you have guys like John Stockton who's just like going around like taking pictures and stuff. And like no one even knew it was him. He was like, he's like, oh, I'll go out on a little adventure and see Barcelona. No one was stopping him for pictures. No one even knew he was on the Dream Team. No one even.
I think it's because John Stockton's what 5'9", 5'10"?
Yeah, just a 5'9" white man.
Yeah.
He was dressed like any like dad from the 90s.
Oh yeah.
And
Fanny
no one
pack.
would ever know. All-time assist leader, just walking down the street.
What is that stat where it's like they combine like the most points like that you contributed or contribution point? What is that stat called?
That's it right there.
He's the second most.
contributed.
He's the second most behind LeBron. It's LeBron and
Is
then
that
John
like
Stockton.
called win shares or something?
No. It's basically your points combined with assists.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like your total points contributed.
Harden is going to be up there.
He's like towards the bottom of the list right now, but he's got to work
eventually.
up.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
he'll work up.
eventually
He'll work
he
up.
will.
But
Yeah.
I mean, Stockton, shit, man. He was the all-time assist leader. And then on top of that, he had on his team
He averages
the
20-something
like,
points a game.
second all-time scoring
ridiculous.
leader. So he's dishing to this dude that is scoring a ridiculous amount of points. Then he himself is scoring a ridiculous amount of points. When they had the backcourt of him and Jeff Hornacek,
Oh yeah.
like it's probably the best shooting backcourt ever before there was
Splash
Clay and
Bros?
Steph.
Yeah.
Before Clay and Steph, it was Jeff and John Stockton. It was Hornacek
Pretty
and Stockton.
nasty. Very nasty.
Yeah.
There's a reason they battled the Bulls all those
Yeah,
years.
exactly. They would probably have a ring if there wasn't a man named Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
A lot of people would have a ring.
Shit. Crazy.
Whole decade of dominance.
Yeah, the 90s were a crazy time. But no, it is crazy to think about like that influence in other parts of the world.
I think it's a part of it's beautiful because it's a duality of life,
Yeah.
because they're in K-pop, it's inspired by us, and then we were inspired by anime, you
Right.
know, and stuff like that. So and then like kung fu and stuff like that culture and stuff. So it's very beautiful to see.
It's beautiful. It really is.
Other countries being inspired by other countries, and I've seen in like South Korea, the bad one. I think that's the one. Where
No, North Korea.
North
North
Korea
Korea
is their press. So
Yeah.
there's like a rap group in North Korea that are like
shit.
rapping about kind of like Joey Badass, literally like revolutionaries
Okay.
rapping. And
They're not dead yet?
Kim Jong-un is
yeah,
gonna try.
they've been
shit.
trying to get him. And this was in 2018, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they're still around.
Right.
But they were putting out videos like saying like "F the government," like
Whoa.
all this stuff. and
Shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
were,
they definitely being hunted.
It's
Yeah.
pretty. Like, how do they even hear rap music like that? I mean, like their internet is so censored, and
I'm sure there's people who are like tech gurus or like,
Yeah.
you know, the kind of like
they found out how to unlock the real
yeah,
internet.
underground.
yeah, for sure. You know, that's there for sure.
Shit, man.
but it's just
dude,
progressive.
you left
It's-
something,
it's
Marcus.
cool.
You left something out when you were telling the people about yourself. And that's
What's
that you're a
that?
huge anime fan.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I love anime.
You're a huge anime fan.
yeah, that's
like,
a small. I mean,
doesn't
I love
like
anime.
anime?
I love anime and film.
What's your
Like,
favorite anime of all time?
Man, it's you know why that hit me so hard is because I'm in the middle of One Piece. And,
We were talking about One
Yeah,
Piece the other
that's-
day.
and
because
One Piece has had so many emotional triggers for me lately. So Dragon Ball Z is like in its own category.
that's
Childhood,
OG. That's OG.
OG. But
Yeah, everyone likes that shit.
I actually enjoy Dragon Ball Z too. So
I mean, yeah,
I can
so-
put that in the category of like my favorites. So like my top 5 without, and they're all equal. I'll
Right.
put them. I will go top 5 all equal for right now. But Full Metal Alchemist,
Classic.
Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho,
Classic. It's probably my favorite.
and now the last 2 are gonna be tough because One Piece is. I'm watching One Piece, but
Hunter?
let's see, that's tough too
You gotta have Hunter on there.
because Yu
That's my
Hakusho, you know. But man, I'm gonna have to go One Piece. I'm gonna throw One Piece in there just because it's.
And you haven't
it's
even
up
finished
there.
it yet.
I haven't even finished it.
That said
but-
something.
But it's almost brought me to tears 3-4 times
Damn.
already, and I'm only on episode 770, and there's like
Oh,
almost
only
yeah,
770.
Yeah, only, and it's still going. It's like almost
Bro,
like 1,000.
I just can't. That's too much for me,
Yeah,
man.
it's too much of a
It-
commitment.
I mean, it's not. Once you binge watch, this is what I did. I binge watched almost half of it, at least 300 episodes. I almost binge watched
Just
off
back
and
to
on.
back to back to back to back.
Like every day, I'd watch like 3 episodes. I'd watch it at work. I'd watch it like anything. I'm watching the show because I'm trying to progress and see the story because
Right.
I'm trying to get to the depths because I watched it when I was a kid and they never went too far with it, you know. But I had no idea the show was continuing on
Yeah.
10 years down the line, you know what I mean? And because I'm watching this Saturday morning cartoons, you know,
Right.
and this was coming on. So, anyways, but my 5th one, it's gonna be a mix between Trigun, Hunter,
Oh, I love Trigun.
and Cowboy Bebop.
Wow.
You know.
Cowboy Bebop's
So
fucking
it's like
amazing.
8, dude. You just gave
I
like
know,
8
I
or
know.
9.
It's
Let him
hard.
give as many as he wants.
It's tough because you know I have a emotional connection with all of them, you
For
know,
sure,
and
for sure.
I mean, and then getting older and understanding it as an adult is really big as well because Cowboy Bebop is so generic now. A lot of people say they like Cowboy Bebop, but a lot
Yeah.
of people really don't even know the true story behind the characters and stuff like that. Like you said, you're into film.
Right.
I'm into like film and like breaking down. I'm into like story writing and like
Right.
creating and stuff
What
like that.
makes a good story and stuff like
Yes.
that, yeah.
So in Cowboy Bebop, it dives into like all of them are drawn together because they all have a damaged and traumatic past.
Right.
And they're all together because they don't want to be alone.
Right.
You know, but the story doesn't actually tell you that. You know what I'm
Marcus,
saying?
You
Yes.
have to watch Neon
Neon
Genesis,
Genesis, yeah.
Evangelion.
I always see that
It's
shit.
one
like,
of the
I was-
most epic anime series you can ever watch. It's literally epic. It's not like average. It's like Dragon Ball Z, yeah, cool, but like this is like on another level of anime.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like if you can imagine, like me saying anime weird is kind of is like out of the box because anime in itself is already a strange, unique thing. But when you watch Neon Genesis, dude, it'll take you outside of your comfort zone, make you feel like, what am I watching? Weird transitions, crazy. Like the directing's amazing, the storyline is incredible, and it's very trippy, unique. It's got the typical like robot. What do you call them? The
mechs.
Yeah, mechas. Yeah,
but
it's a mech anime.
It's so
right?
more than that. It's so much more than that. You know what I mean? It's so much more than just that. Like,
Because I really like mech anime. Like I'm a big Gundam fan.
Yeah.
I am as well. I love Gundams.
Yeah, but
Especially G Gundam.
it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. And from the start to the ending will blow your mind. The very last episode, you're like, what?
The way you're describing it it's how I feel about two animes: Full Metal Alchemist and Akira. When I saw Akira the first time.
Akira is amazing.
Yeah,
I took him to see Akira, bro.
At the movie theater recently?
Yeah.
It was great seeing it in the movie theater.
It blew my mind. I didn't know what I saw.
I had known about Akira for a while, but like until I watched it, I don't really know like what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But the whole like last 20 minutes of that
Oh
movie,
my
Yeah, same
God.
I'm
here.
just like, what the fuck is happening right now? You know?
Dude, yeah, and I think that Akira is a perfect, like, I wouldn't say intro film or anything for like anime, but like you can truly enjoy that film whether you're an anime fan or if you've never seen an anime before in your life and you watch it, you can like appreciate it and enjoy it because it's that good. It's just incredible film.
And just like the fucking aesthetics of it. Like
it's
it's
beautiful.
just the coolest, most fucking 80s like future fucking like Neo Tokyo. It's just wild, man. Wild.
So like the appreciation I had for that as well. Like when I watched it, I watched so many videos about the breakdown and like what went into it, what's the history behind it, and all of that. And like the drawings, they had so many people drawing it for like frames by second, and it's just phenomenal. Like the work put into this film was.
Yeah, you
unmatched.
also touched on something like how much deeper, excuse me, these animes go besides like what you see on the surface, because I think that says something about the Japanese culture as well.
Yeah.
Because if you don't like understand what they've been through, like what that culture like stands for, like what, like who they are as a people, and like the things that go into that, you'll miss a lot of what is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because from how we grew up and how we're brought up in American culture is very different than how they experience their reality and their culture, you know? So there's a lot more of like sacrifice, a lot more themes of like sacrifice, doing things for like the
Honor.
people, like more like it's really interesting to watch because it's like you don't pick it out immediately, but when you sit back and contemplate it after you like, why did that character do that? Or what was the meaning of the character like sacrificing himself for that? And it's like it goes so much deeper than, and there's also a lot of like in relative anime, like a lot of like destruction and like, you know, the cities being destroyed, and obviously because of the whole experience in World War II and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot that goes deeper into it than what people think, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's not just a cartoon.
Right.
A lot of people think like, okay, they just go anime, okay, it's animated, so it's a cartoon, it's just for kids.
Right. For
sure.
So many people think anime is just like a kid-only medium, and if you're an adult that watches anime, you're like grow up.
But
Like,
yet adults watch Family Guy and
Exactly.
Simpsons and
no
you
one
know,
says shit about that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It's anime.
anime tackles some of the most mature concepts you'll ever find in any sort of visual media. Like, I mean, anime gets fucking dark sometimes. You know what I mean? And like, it tackles death in the family. It tackles like all kinds of like relationship and love issues, friendship struggles, all
religion, spirituality. all that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's amazing.
I think some of who I guess not inspired to be, but like some of the characters from anime reflected of me myself. You know, like Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yusuke
Very-
Urameshi.
Very very hard-headed, stubborn, you know, shit talker, you know, late to class. I was always late to class, like little things like that, you know. And I actually forgot my fifth anime. It's actually Naruto.
I was about to say, you didn't say,
Yeah,
okay.
I did forget
So-
one. That was the one I was like,
Okay, cool.
It could not even come to my head for some reason, but
Because
definitely
I'm a
Naruto.
big Naruto fan.
Yeah, Naruto was phenomenal.
You were doing the voice, how outrageous the voice actor
Oh my
is on there.
god, yeah. So like
The English one.
I
Naruto.
I try to watch as much anime as I can in Japanese, but there's a few that I can only watch in English. Like I really only like watching Dragon Ball Z in English. It's just those are the voices I grew up with. Anything else feels weird. Naruto, I can't watch in Japanese, but I almost can't watch it in English either because
yeah.
Naruto sounds so fucking insane.
Shippuden, it's unbearable. I can watch normal Naruto in English.
Yeah.
Because I grew up watching just Naruto in English, so I'm like, okay, I'm good.
But when you get to like Shippuden,
do his voice, Tom.
Naruto,
He's
like, oh right, believe it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the next Hokage. Believe it.
Says it 100 times. Sound like Pinocchio
so
too.
Funny,
Yeah.
dude. It's so
Sasuke.
funny.
Yeah, he just like sounds
It's
like
just
that.
so over the top. It's ridiculous.
And then like then you have dudes like Aruka Sensei that are just like, we're having ramen tonight, and it's just like no one fucking talks like that. That's nuts, you know. Oh right, yeah. Believe it. Running around like this and shit.
Dude,
we all had someone at school who ran around like that,
sure.
right?
And then you had like dudes at school, like in junior high, like had people that like that's just who they were.
Oh, yeah.
I had one dude that thought he was fucking Rock Lee, and he'd be like spinning around like shit, like in class. I had one dude that thought he was Neji, and he would just like walk up to you and go, you know, like,
oh my god.
So you just like had people that they would just latch on to a Naruto character, and like that's just who they were.
In my middle school basketball tryouts, there was this kid. Everyone knew he shouldn't be there,
Right.
but he was there.
Yeah.
And he didn't know the first thing about basketball. I think the coaches just let him try out just to laugh at him, which is really bad. But it's just what happened, man. This guy would grab the ball and just start running with the ball and like trying to do karate kicks and shit, like just like we're playing pickup basketball. They should have never let it happen. But he was like running around, with his hands behind him, like running around like that, doing jump kicks, rolling on the ground, and just like he was obviously influenced by anime, but it was just like one of those things that you just
don't
never
let him watch
forget,
Kuroku's basketball.
Never. He never had a chance.
There was the dude that I told you thought he was like Neji, bro. He would like be dribbling and he would just be like 8 trigrams, 64 palms, and like he would like try and like cross you. It was so crazy, and like
that's really funny.
We're like sitting here in Houston, Texas, but just like completely enamored with Japanese culture. It was amazing,
dude. Tom was the one who showed me the video of that kid trying to go Super Saiyan, and I showed that to Marcus.
I could not stop laughing. I thought that was the funny. Like,
dude, I was crying too the first time I saw it.
I had to tell him to pause it.
It's like his eyes are rolling back in his head and shit.
But like how that, I mean, it's a really good point because that it just shows you how much influence it's had on us. Literally from a cartoon to make you think that you can transform into some super being. Like kids
like
literally think they can do that shit.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? That it's wild, man.
You put that much energy into almost failing.
You're like veins popping out of his neck, you know? Or like dudes trying to do like Kamehamehas in their room and shit. Like,
oh yeah.
So crazy. What a wild time to have been a kid. That's why I would never change the period of time I grew up in.
Me too.
Because we grew up in like a golden age of like childhood exposure to anime. We had like Adult Swim. Mm-hmm. You could just stay up all night and just watch like Samurai Champloo and like Lupin and stuff like that.
What was that one? The Big O?
Yeah.
Big O is awesome.
Big O's another good one. Toonami was just like playing Gundam all the time. Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, all kinds of shit.
Yeah, it was really cool.
But that's where I got into anime.
Same.
That's why I like Rurouni Kenshin is one of my favorite animes, just because I just watched it as a kid.
Yeah, I watched that on Toonami as well.
And then I remember, I don't remember how old I was. I think I was like 10 or 11. And we were doing this thing where if you did something well or like if you behaved well, your teacher would give you like a little ticket. And then at the end of the year, you would like pool all your tickets together and they would just do like an auction. They would like auction off cool things that kids would want and you would use your tickets as currency, and it was meant to be incentive to behave well because you wanted tickets. I remember me and these 2 other kids, we went 3 ways in on a fucking shonen jump. And I just remember like that like shonen jump. We just like all after school, we like went behind the school and we were just like reading our new shonen jump and like reading. That's why I love all that fucking shonen jump anime, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Also on like the influence it's had. I mean, you got guys coming up who are around our age, like Logic, for example, who's a huge anime fan.
Yeah.
And you can see it in his music, which is so cool. It's like to see that happening, like where it's like,
it's our generation.
Yeah, man,
like
it's wild.
The true influence of our generation. Then like to see basketball players like having Dragon Ball Z shoes and like and stuff like that. Like
you have
the
like
collabs.
rappers that are putting anime references in their lyrics.
Oh yeah, even more now than ever.
Yeah.
So
you have dudes like Big Sean. They're just like obsessed with anime, talking about anime all the time.
All
you
the
know,
time.
Sure.
Logic. You know, all these guys. Almost everyone is making fucking Dragon Ball Z references. It's to the point where like my mom, I can show my mom a picture and be like, "Mom, who's that?" Oh, it's Gohan. Like like my mom,
wow.
my mom knows Dragon Ball Z characters just because of the fucking saturation that is happening.
My
with
mom,
anime.
I could tell a funny story. My mom got me so good one time when I was a kid. So we went to this really nice flea market, or I don't even know what it was, a flea market or just some nice store in Houston that like sold all type of stuff. It was around getting close to Christmas, and she's shopping for her friend's kids and stuff like that, and her friend. And we go to some toys, and I see this Vegeta, Super Saiyan Majin Vegeta specifically.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen this one before. I'm flipping out. So I'm like, Mom, please.
Yeah.
Please get this for me. I'm begging. I'm like.
What was it? Is it like action figure?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a toy. So I was like, specially like begging for it, like being like as any way I could, because anytime I go to the damn store, I'm asking for a fucking toy, So this time I was like, Mama, please, like we're far away, like an hour out, like never gonna see this again.
Yeah.
She's like, no. I'm like, but look, she's like, no. She's like, actually, I'm gonna get it for my friend's son. And she bought it.
Oh.
She bought it, right? I was so mad.
Damn,
I tried to steal it. I tried to do all type of shit. I was so distraught. I was pretty mad at my mom for like a week at least. Just like every time I was like, it's like, yeah. Christmas comes around. She got it for me.
Oh, nice.
I was so like, that was one of the best
Like
Christmas
April
presents.
Fools.
Pretty much, yeah. No, this is April 1st. Yeah, she got me so good though, because I remember the feeling just being let down. Like, Mama, please, like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna see this again. But my mom actually she went to Japan last year. Yeah, she went last year around the Dragon Ball. No, 2 years ago. So it was before the Dragon Ball Super movie. And she went to Japan and went to Tokyo Tower and like saw they like decorated all of Tokyo Tower and the Dragon Ball Super stuff. And like she brought me back a bunch of stuff and like
I would love to see that, man. That's fucking great.
I'll show you eventually, but it's dope. She brought me back some like cool Dragon Ball Z statues and stuff like that. Like it was cool, man. So my mom's the greatest. Shout out to you, Mom.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Marcus has random Dragon Balls sitting in his house.
Yeah, I have a Dragon Ball
Oh,
from
shit.
Japan.
Hey, let's get together and summon Shinra on
I
the
know.
night. Shit.
For real.
And I also want to shout out one of my good friends, Vince. He runs an Instagram account where he just like takes really good pictures with his like he has super high quality Dragon Ball Z action figures.
Nice.
And he like poses them and like stages them and takes dope pictures. So the name of the Instagram is Soldier Toy Tell 'em. And it is like
so funny.
It's like a really dope Instagram.
Nice.
So I don't know if he wants a lot of followers on it. So I don't know if he'll like approve every follow request because I think it's like his like side thing. But Soldier Toy Tell 'em, spelled just like Soldier Boy Tell 'em, and he takes really good pictures of
That's
Dragon Ball
cool.
Z action figures, and they look really badass. So shout out to Vince. I have to run.
All right.
So Marcus, anything you want to say on the podcast before we call it?
It's been real. I want to come back. We can talk more football,
For
more
sure.
anime, more music.
Yeah.
I would love to have another great conversation with you guys. This is awesome.
We might have to get it to where it's like, how Joe Rogan will have like Joe Rogan episode 1600 whatever, and then he'll do MMA show number 99.
Right.
We might just have to start having like Midnight Variety Hour episodes and then Midnight Variety Hour Sports Edition episode number, because like if we
Not
just
a bad idea.
if we just talked sports, like we should label the episodes that are just going to be like an hour and a half of sports, because not everyone's going to want to listen to that, but we could
Right.
totally go for hours on just sports.
Totally.
So, all right, maybe Marcus will be the first
bad
guest
idea.
on Midnight Variety Hour Sports Edition. Until then, watch some anime, go get a sleep study done, drink lots of water, and stay safe out there in the cosmos.
Peace, y'all.